Get your wallets out, because today we are going to be talking about the ever expensive GPUs. All right, so the GPU stands for Graphics Processing Unit. Some people argue with you and say it stands for General Processing Unit. You're both right, you're both wrong. Doesn't matter what you call it. This thing pushes pixels really fast. There are three types of people that GPUs matter to. First are gamers. Gamers care about having the latest hardware with the most frames per second, blah, blah, blah. The other one is crypto miners. People who want to speculate off of cryptocurrency will have a bunch of GPUs because GPUs are good at processing hashes and stuff like that. They'll have a bunch of GPUs in a shed or something, just whirring away, trying to mine blockchain, which is a whole different subject. So crypto miners buy a lot of GPUs. And the last customer for GPUs are creative types, people who do like video editing or rendering or graphical design. They might use a GPU. So there's really two players in the GPU market. There's AMD again, right? So manufacturers. AMD. And then you also have NVIDIA. Okay? And there's, again, between these two things, some motherboards, like laptop motherboards, will usually have actually the chipset or the actual graphics processing unit integrated onto the motherboard. So it's not like a card that you plug into your laptop. It'll usually be one of these chips actually as a part of your laptop or as a part of your motherboard. So I guess that's another thing to do, integrate or not, integrate graphics. Or not. Integrate or not. And typically laptops are. Or it comes as a card. Okay? So even when it comes as a card, so the manufacturers, AMD and NVIDIA, they make like the actual like silicon little chip. But you still have the task of taking that little chip and getting it to talk to a computer. So just like there are CPUs, central processing units, and motherboards, for GPUs it's a little bit different. There are actual chips made by AMD or Intel, and then those chips will be directly soldered onto their own PCB, which comes as a card. So you're actually going to have two manufacturers for an actual video card. It's going to be AMD or NVIDIA for the silicon chip, and then you're going to have like GeForce, EVGA, or I'm sorry, GeForce is NVIDIA. It's a different thing. You're going to have like Gigabyte. I don't know if Corsair does it, but you're going to have some aftermarket. They call them board houses because their job is to take the chip and put it on a board and put a cooler on it. That's all they do. But you can safely ignore who is actually manufacturing the board. All you really care about is the silicon chip in here. That's all you'll really care about. But you will see stuff by like Gigabyte or EVGA or whatever. You'll see those kinds of people who actually put it on the board. So let's run through a spec. Oh wait, before we do, actually, the other thing that we care about is actually size, mem size. Again, and that's again going to be measured in gigabytes for now. I'm going to do it in lower gigabyte or lowercase GB because it's my video and no one can stop me even though I'm wrong. So let's go through one. Let's say what's a good card? Let's go through a really old card that I just had problems with. Let's say GTX 670. That's 660, 670. FTW edition. EVGA, actually. EVGA. Okay, so I happen to know, in this case, this is a listing for a graphics card. Oh, and it'll also say something like 2 GB. Okay, 2 GB. So what is this kind of listing describing? It's saying EVGA, which is a secondary board house, GTX, which is actually referring to NVIDIA's naming convention, though, again, it really doesn't matter. You're mostly looking at the memory size, and then you're looking at this number here, which is like whoever's naming convention it is, You're looking for the biggest numbers that indicate the latest generation. So this EVGA GTX 670 FTW edition, like you can forget this. This is just some marketing wank that they put on there that just means nothing. Basically what you're seeing here is you're seeing this is a board house, this is a chip, and this is the size of the chip. So your game is to find out this chip, how old is it, and how does it match up to other modern graphics cards? Okay, and we're gonna go over how to like spec stuff out with like PC part picker and stuff later. But one thing that's very important is for GPUs, you want to go to a website called User Benchmark, and you just want to compare graphics cards. Okay, you want to compare like you want to see this listing that you found and say, hey, this graphics card was only like $30. Is it any good? Can it run games? You're gonna have to Google the stuff that you see on the listing. You're gonna have to Google that and be like, hey, what can it run? How does this stack up to more modern graphics cards? So this is just saying 2 GB. This is the old chipset. It's old. 670 is old. Like 9. The naming convention for NVIDIA is up to like 30, not 6. So the naming convention for NVIDIA actually went like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This number was the generation, right? So it went 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, blah, 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 all the way to like 6. I think they skipped 7 or something. I don't know. Maybe they didn't. And then there's 9, 10. And then once they got to 10, they started doing 20 and 30, right? I don't know why they did that. And then this number here for NVIDIA is the tier, right? You should be familiar with this concept of generation and tier. And a 70 is like upper middle tier, right? So we'll look at a different listing. This means very old, right? But pretty high tier for old. And 2 GB, well, that's the size of it. Size is like 2 gigabytes is really not much by modern standards, but it can get you around like video transcoding and maybe some older games, you know. That's not the worst card in the world, but it's not really viable for modern gaming or crypto mining. So let's talk about some other listings that you might see. Here's another video card. Let's say GTX 1070. Let's say Gigabyte. And they'll have some that's just like Wind Force. They might even say Super, Mega, and then Extreme. But again, this stuff here in the listing, that's all wank. That doesn't mean anything. Gigabyte, let's say 1070, 1070, and then 8 GB. Okay, so you see a listing for a 1070 8 gigabyte. Okay, that's a pretty good card. That's good. This probably came out around 2017. The 10 is a relative. This is this 10th generation for NVIDIA. Again, we're not going over AMD's because I don't really buy AMD cards. But this came out in like 2017. So back when everybody in the world was playing PUBG, if you remember that. And the 70 in this case refers to a tier again, which is like the upper middle tier. They usually have a NVIDIA usually has the generation number and the tier, which is followed by 2 things. And the tiers are usually 30, 50, 60, 70, and 80. I think 80 is usually their top. So if you see a 10, blah, 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 then it probably came out in 2017. If you see a 20, it probably came out in like 2019. If you see a 30, it probably came out in 2021, right? 30, so a 3080 is probably, or a 3070 is supposed to be following their naming convention, or what used to be their naming convention at least. A 30 something would be a really good card, or a 2080 would be a really good card. Heck, a 1080 would be a pretty viable card for gaming and for everything else. Well, not everything else. It would be viable for gaming, it would be viable for video editing, but it would not really be super viable for crypto mining. So That's the graphics cards. Graphics cards, as of right now, are crazy because a lot of crypto miners entered the market. A lot of crypto miners entered the market, and at the same time, a lot of people started working from home. So there's a tremendous amount of demand for really nice computer rigs that were like well built, and well built computer rigs where they include GPUs. So the demand for GPUs shot up, and remember, you're dealing with AMD and Intel, which make the little tiny, very complicated, way worse than a Swiss watch, just feat of engineering. They make direct silicon dies. And these guys have the hard job of planning like a singular chip. If you were to follow a singular chip through a silicon fab, that chip takes about like 9 months. It's like a baby. It takes about 9 months to go from silicon to an actual like graphics chip or an actual CPU. It's crazy. So the manufacturers have to plan way ahead what the demand is going to be in the future and make just enough and not too many of those chips to satisfy demand a year ahead. But when you have a global pandemic that locks stuff down and everybody moves to working from home and crypto miners, well, that makes demand for that chip go way high. But the supply, again, the supply is not elastic. Like this is stuff that they planned like from years ago, literally years ago. So they're expecting it to be like, you know, here. And this right here, which is what we're currently going through, we're now coming out of it, but we're currently going through this. This is what causes the prices of GPUs to go really high. So how wonky is that, you might ask? Well, it's really wonky. Because back in 2017, I paid about 300 and change bucks for a 1070. And that was a big expense for me then. That same card, again, this is a 4-year-old card. It's supposed to be darn near worthless now. But that same card is worth $600 on eBay, last I checked. So my old graphics card actually went up in value, which it should never happen. Old computer hardware is supposed to go down sharply in value very quickly, right? It's supposed to like lose half of its value within the first year. So that's how wonky this demand curve has been. Now, will it stay like that forever? Probably not. But again, I don't have a crystal ball. Maybe crypto mining takes off and it's just forever demand, and NVIDIA and AMD look at each other and go, hey, look, they're paying, you know, $3,000 for graphics cards. Why would we change that? Maybe it goes like that. Who knows though? I just know that as of right now, making this video, GPUs to me seem insanely overpriced. There is not a lot more. There's another thing worth talking about with GPUs. It's a concept. So when most of graphics cards are used for generating graphics, well, if I have a shape in the real world, let's say it's a ball, right? We're all familiar with a ball. Well, graphics cards and computers really don't do like curved shapes very well. What they do is they draw a number of triangles. So I'm just gonna do a circle to make it super simple. So if you just had like the most basic representation to a computer with very limited resources, the computer will draw that triangle, be like, that's the best, that's the closest I can get. That one triangle is the closest I can get to drawing that circle, right? But if you get a bigger, more powerful GPU, then it can be like, oh, well, you know, actually I can draw more triangles in here. Oh, look, Star of David, the religion. I can draw more triangles and get closer to the ball, get closer to what you're telling me to do, and more, right? We can get closer to it. And if you keep doing this, you will have like bajillions of little triangles filling up that ball very quickly, right? But notice, when I did that, the first triangle was terrible. And then the second set of triangles made it like less terrible. And the third was even less. But every time we do that, we hit what's called diminishing returns, right? There's not much more space we can start filling in. The spaces between what we can render, what the triangles we can draw with our graphics card, and what the shape is that we're going after, the space in between that gets smaller and smaller. So if you're trying to model like a character and you have old N64 graphics, when the new PS2 or GameCube or Xbox comes out and that and we draw more polygons that go from like, you know, Laura Croft only has like, you know, 50 polygons or whatever, or however many polygons she had, to doubling it, she gets to be in, you notice a big difference. But between the current generations, there's less and less space in here to get more and more realistic stuff going on. So the thing with GPUs is that for gaming, there aren't a lot of applications that have super like demanding graphics requirements that require much better graphics cards that are coming out. There's not. I mean, there's some push for like virtual reality, which is very demanding. Virtual reality is demanding not because the models are very high fidelity, not because they're drawing complicated geometry, but because a virtual reality environment has the graphics card drawing more than what's rendered on the screen. So when you turn your head in virtual reality, you instantly see stuff to your right and stuff to your left. It gets rendered onto your goggles very quickly because the GPU has already figured out a 360-degree field of view for you. It's already done all the compute for that. And that is pretty intensive on the GPUs. So maybe GPUs can help with VR, but VR isn't really taken off the way people thought it would. And even then, right? Like at the end of the day, you are still going to need models of only so much fidelity. Like even in VR, you might have like an anime figure that like only has so much fidelity for you to draw. So if GPUs continue to get better and better, their only applications are going to be in video editing. The only applications where they will actually matter will be in video editing and crypto mining. Because in video editing, when you have large video files to render, to write to files, that does get loaded onto the GPU, and the faster and chunkier your GPU is, the faster it'll chew through writing that file. And the same kind of game goes with crypto miners. Crypto miners are trying to solve a really hard math problem on the blockchain, and the first one to solve it gets a bunch of crypto. That's a really rundown version of how blockchain works, but the more oomph, the more graphics, the more compute you can throw at that problem, the faster you are at solving the big hard math problem, the better crypto miner you're going to be. So if graphics cards continue to improve forever, they're eventually going to have to depart from drawing better and better graphics, because we are getting very realistic graphics with like ray tracing and stuff like that. It just like real life only looks so good, right? So you can approximate that down to a point where it's like it's indistinguishable from video, right? Rendered videos can look very close to photorealistic, very, very close to where it's like very hard to tell them apart. So that's the thing about graphics. That's my little spiel on GPUs and on graphics computing to begin with. Going back to the original point of the whole video series, graphics cards, they push pixels. You buy them. I showed you kind of what their naming conventions are, what their listings look like. You buy them, you slam them into your computer. One thing not to forget, your motherboard has video outlets, right? If you want to use your GPU, plug your video outlet into your GPU. Don't forget to do that. So that's everything there is to know, really, about GPUs, or at least everything that I know that matters. And next thing we talk about is we're gonna look at some specs. We're gonna look at some full system specs, and you're gonna be able to tell what that spec sheet or what that spec list is describing. All right, see you then.